All opinions are those of the participants making them and are not an endorsement of any position, program, religion, or political affiliation. DFG's Corner is for information, observation, and entertainment. I ask that you comment, like, share, and subscribe.
Which is stupid, and it shouldn't be. They should both be sexually disciplined and do it within the confines of a committed, loving relationship. If there were penalties for people who had it before marriage or before even cohabitation, then I guess there'd be a lot less crime in the world. But there's no such thing as equality. There's equity, but we're always going to hold societies are always going to hold women in a special regard, especially if they're a mother. Especially if they're a mother. And young girls, most men hold in, because men want to protect. I'm not going into the relationship type thing, but men have an innate inner something about to say to want to make sure that things go right, to correct wrongs when they see them and act instead of waiting. Now, society today is a lot different from that, but that's what it looks like. What's going on, Bean? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm late. I just got I got out of work a little bit late, and I had to literally go pick my dog up from the sitter. So okay. That's where I'm coming from. All I know is I agree. There's a lot of cultures that make boys grown men at the age of 15, and they're marrying them off to other 15-year-old girl children, and they expecting them to know how to be adults and married people and have kids and completely, and they always put it as tradition or as our religion. Sometimes that's just an excuse in my book. You just don't want to take care of your children, and you want your children to have kids so they can get on public assistance and everything like that. It is the truth. It's the truth. I know too many people like that. I know too many people that continue to have children just so they could get food stamps and free rent.
But I don't think that's an issue with Shannon Sharpe and his people. But go on. I'm sorry.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
you could tell that man was freaky by the way he speaks. Okay.
We've established that.
I learned about Shannon Sharpe. He tells the truth. He don't hide
But he
nothing.
still look freaky to me.
I mean,
he still look like he could do some
to.
things.
Yeah,
but he needs the fact permission.
That I watch his shows and everything. He seems like a very truthful man. In the way he talks and the way he carries himself. He don't have no shame in his game. If he did it, he did it. If he didn't, he didn't. That's how I seen it. But when I actually listened to the attorney, she went about it wrong. She also criminal. I don't know if she did any criminal wise on that aspect, but they posted the text messages where it clearly states what she wanted and how she wanted it done. So can it be a open and closed case? No. But did he do anything illegal to her without her consent? That's where the bottom line is going to wind up being at.
That's crazy. Well, hold on. I'm looking right now. I am looking for this video.
I'm sorry. Can I say something?
Go ahead.
I understand the word. I know consent, but consent is one of those. It's like that Robin Thicke song, "Blurry Lines," and I'm learning that. You could say no as many times as you want, and I believe it is still abuse in a certain type of way. But there's a lot of men out here that literally don't take no for an answer, and they use coercion, and that's where the blurry lines come from. So that could be a part of that too. Yeah, she agreed to certain things, but a lot of men a lot of men in this on this planet just will use coercion to where the woman feel so bad. They like, all right, let me just do it to get it out the way. And then when they
She
actually
wanted
think
that
about
done
it,
to her. He didn't say that. She did. She said, "This is what I want you to do, and how I want you to do it."
but he could
Yeah,
have did
but
it.
at the same time,
I
she
could
may
say
have
no and
done
stop.
that to curry favor with him. Sometimes you know, these young girls, and I'm not making excuses for either one of them, because just because it's legal, that don't make it morally right. But she may have just been telling him these things because she knows or assume that's what he likes. So a lot of these young girls, they feel like if they do and say and act a certain way towards these older men, that they're going to curry favor with them and she's going to be the number one, and you know, things like that. Like I said, just because she consented to it or maybe even requested it, that doesn't mean that it was morally right. And
Right.
it's no way in the world that a 50-something-year-old man should be with a 19-year-old girl, or vice versa. A 50-something-year-old woman should be with a 19-year-old boy. I have both. And I think at 19, even though I was a mother at 19, I still developmentally and emotionally, I still was a child. And you want to do things that you think you're supposed to do because you feel like you're grown at that age. And let's be honest, at 19, you are not grown.
Yeah, we
You
talked
might be
about
chronologically and legally
that.
an adult, but mentally, you're not.
Yeah, I
And you make decisions based on emotion instead of based on reality or, you know,
logic.
facts. And she
Exactly.
probably, you know, sent those text messages because she wanted to be, you know, higher in the in the lineup than she actually was. And you're right, Tawana. Chocolate Pearl. She may have, you know, brought these charges against him because she felt salty. I mean, you know, like you said, sometimes women, we deal in emotions more than lot you know, being logical.
Agreed.
And then
Agreed.
her young 19-year-old, and there's some grown women, even my age, that do things like this because they emotionally and their feelings are hurt and they want to retaliate, and it's ridiculous. But that doesn't mean that we're going to victim shame either, because at the end of the day, whether she agreed to it or not, she's only 19, so she was, in my opinion, a victim.
Understood.
And I'm sorry, in my opinion, what is the 50-something-year-old man doing with a 19-year-old? That is just right there.
We're gonna
Right.
talk about that. We're gonna talk. We're gonna
Yeah.
talk about that. Being make oh, trust me, and we are talking about that. That's a whole nother story. But I got the video up. I'm just gonna play it right quick. Fair use. Who would be in there, who would not do the kinds of things that he's going to do. For some reason, it won't play. It won't. I can't get the sound. So we will close that. And anyway, it's about him saying his apology, how he's saying it was extortion, yada yada. So from what I understood, a lot of sisters was mad, not not just the age, but the fact that she was a clear-coated Karen or an Alabaster Annie, whatever you want to say.
That right now, that has nothing to do with it. That we never should actually put a color to relationships anymore, because we are colorblind, and again, the line is blurred. We can't tell who's who, what's what. So her being a different color or a different nationality or race shouldn't have anything to do with it. It's if she said no and he took that no and ran with it, or if she said yes and then changed her mind and wanted to extort him, it has nothing to do with it. It has something to do with something was done that wasn't right, and that should be the point, not her color. It should be her age, and if she said is true, or if what he says is true, that should be the point. Everything else is irrelevant.
Okay, okay, that's. But then, like I said, they would go ahead, Summer.
No, I was gonna say, I agree with what she just said. However, we live in a society where it seems like we can't reach a certain level. There's always going to be.
Thanks for watching. This is the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course smooth as a Rolls Royce, saying, never make love by the garden gate, though love is blind, the neighbor's ain't.